Tarzan VR is the story of endless possibilities, but sadly only one pathetic outcome. The PSVR1 port we got in 2021 wasn't great, so let's check in on a younger, happier, more enthusiastic Brian and see what he had to say about that version. And as we go, I'll let you know if anything has changed in the PSVR2 remaster. When Tarzan VR was first announced, it wasn't met with what I'd consider to be overwhelming enthusiasm, and the ridiculous mixed reality trailer didn't help things either. But still, I couldn't stop thinking about how cool swimming, climbing, parkour, and swinging from vine to vine could potentially be in VR. And to me at least, Tarzan seemed like the perfect license to bring all of these elements together seamlessly. I think we all know where this is heading, so let's just get to it.
Tarzan, they're almost to the Valley of Forever. Find us, quickly!
When Tarzan VR was released on PC VR, it was done so episodically, meaning that each of the 3 chapters came out one at a time. The PlayStation VR version comes with all 3 included, but before you even select which chapter you want to start with, you're dropped into Tarzan's island home hub world. And while everything looks okay, I suppose, things are definitely not right from the get-go. First, your hands aren't oriented the way you'd expect them to be, but even worse, neither are the controls. You walk forward by pushing square on the right move controller, and the turn buttons are on the left controller. And for anyone unfamiliar with how PSVR works, as the team who ported this seems to be, this is about as ass backwards as control schemes get, so good luck with that. Alright, so right off the bat, I can report that most of these issues have been sorted out for the PSVR2 release. The environments are sharp and colorful, though parts of them use a dithering effect that wasn't present in the PSVR1 original. It's used sparingly, hard to point out on the social screen, and I'm a little torn on whether I like it or not, but it does harken back to the look of early comic books, so I guess it works to some degree. The movement controls function exactly how you'd expect them to on PSVR2, but with the crouch button being noticeably absent, which wouldn't be a horrible omission, but the force grab is pretty unreliable, so trying to pick something up off the ground takes some time and practice. The hand placement issue is noticeably better, except for when it isn't, and turning while climbing gives you that rotating around something feeling, rather than rotating in place like it should. Soon enough though, you'll get into the first chapter and things go from bad to worse. Swinging from vine to vine initially feels okay, but eventually you'll get to a point where if you're not in the exact right place to trigger the vine swinging icon, you're just totally screwed. And this happens a lot, to the point where you're not even sure if you should have access to the vine at all. Thankfully, this wasn't an issue for me even once while playing through the PSVR2 version. Swingable vines are well marked, infinitely more reliable, although sometimes you do have to look up pretty high for the next one. And there are some decent haptics while you're swinging. And then there's the combat. Enemies act dumb and combat feels like drunken bar fight 2.0. You can grab them with one hand and then bash them with the other, but the ragdoll physics are ridiculous. You're never actually sure if your punches are landing, and the game will just throw you around the environment for no reason at all. It's so bad that it's actually kind of fun, but you know, not that much fun. Man, 2021 Brian was way less irritable than 2024 Brian. The combat still sucks, and it seems like there's been no effort to improve it at all. Pulling off punches and breaking stuff was shockingly difficult to pull off, with my fist constantly just rolling off whatever it was I was trying to hit. And even when you get your first weapon, something is still very off here. The axe works infinitely better when you ignore that you have a weapon in your hand and just use your fist instead. And the slingshot is just impossible to aim while moving. The levels in Tarzan are pretty linear. Most of them are just a straight path from beginning to end, which is fine, it's a linear game, but Tarzan VR doesn't subscribe to the most basic tenets of good game design. At one point you eat mushrooms to see clues as to where to go next, and that never happens ever again. At another point you hit a dead end, you're not sure what to do, until you figure out that you have to destroy rocks with your weapon to clear a path. Oh, they fixed the rock thing, there's a big sign above it now. And that never happens again. And at yet another point, you have to beat your chest to open a door. Yeah, I don't know why either. And then guess what? That never happens ever again. It's like the game is teaching you that you have all these amazing skills, but they're never actually ever used in the game. you think that's it, well, it's not. The first boss I encountered totally glitched out, so I just ran right past him to the end of the level. Like, there's obviously something wrong here, and I'm still not exactly sure how this section was supposed to play out. This has been fixed too. I destroyed the tower, and that was that. And the second boss was too dumb to realize that his shots were hitting the wall of the cave over and over and over. So I just stood in one spot and fired arrow after arrow after arrow without issue, never having to put myself in danger.
2 guesses how I beat the boss this time.
If that wasn't enough, the audio design's a mess, characters talk over each other, there's no 3D audio, so everyone sounds like they're right in front of you. And some characters talk even when they don't exist.
Over there!
The voices kill me. It's a mix of old Tarzan clips, a narrator, radio transmissions, NPCs, and yeah, they're all just talking over each other randomly. The disembodied characters are still here, and all of these things combined make the experience pretty unpleasant. The one possible improvement was that I could actually tell where most of the voices were coming from now. There are some things that I really liked about Tarzan VR, mostly exploring to find collectibles, which let's not even talk about trying to play the vinyls you find around the environment. The overall comic book aesthetic, climbing, and, well, I guess that's pretty much it. It wasn't a horrible experience, but there's just no real reason to play it in the state that it's in. There's a glimpse of a fun game here, and I actually found myself having fun for brief moments of time. Let me put it this way, even if you ignore all the control, audio, combat, and interaction issues, Tarzan VR would still only be a below average game at best. But this PSVR port has so many technical problems that it's currently bordering on abysmal. Yeah, listen, I know it's me, but I couldn't agree more. It took me all of 90 minutes to get through the PSVR2 version, and even though this port has addressed some of the bigger concerns, all this better version has done is confirm that there really isn't a good game hiding beneath all of its faults. Swinging on vines, climbing, and collecting vinyl was pretty fun, but that's really it. I originally gave Tarzan a 4.7, which I think was extremely generous, and even too generous for this dramatically improved version. So let's correct that right now.
Let's be still just a moment. Don't move. Je m'appelle Tarzan.